Hello everybody, welcome to Factorio. It's been a while since I've been doing anything, recording wise, I guess you could say. I've been still in and out of video games, but nothing that I really wanted to record. So we're kind of back today, and we're starting a new save in Factorio. Pull up the map quick. So the starting area has some cliffs in it. Iron ore, copper, got a water reservoir down here. Appears to have like a bit of a forest in that area. Coal and stone, of course. So we got a ton of each in the starting area. I decided to set up this map very much oriented towards requirement of trains. So this is all the resources we have here, and a lot of the next sets of resources is a significant margin away from us. So we'll be able to build a base here and get trains in and out through their respective areas. There's also, of course, the biters, because I don't really want to deal with them right away at the beginning of the game. I like to be able to set up a little bit of a map first. I've elected to having them have like a 300% buffer zone, so I don't need to be worrying about dying immediately. I did a few adjustments to pollution, among other things, and yeah, hopefully we don't have too many issues with them on the early end of the game, but there's plenty of them, and they do respawn at a significant rate, so in the later stages of the game, we can get fairly competitive with them. But without further ado, we should get on started here, and of course now it's nighttime, which is fine, because the first little bit of time is kind of just, you know, set doing a few miscellaneous tasks. I think we're going to kick off by getting some wood, and then probably a little bit of coal, and then starting to get the copper iron combination going here. We'll also need some stone, which is fine, but yeah, we'll worry about that bridge when we need to cross it. Well, I guess we need to cross it relatively quickly. So before I start migrating up, I'm gonna go grab stone. I'm gonna do a circle. I'm gonna grab some of this first. Yeah, hopefully this isn't too significantly loud. Of course, you guys will need to be able to tell me at the end of the video if this is too loud for you guys. Relating, of course, the ore gathering and such. I already turned it down a bit, but yeah, it shouldn't be super bad. So that's a good start. 14 coal, of course, that's all I got. Should have put a miner on that to start off, because that's like one of the things that repetition is getting rid of it right away is probably the main goal. And I mean, there's of course the research trees and such that I'll need to be worried about here relatively shortly, but you'll see that I follow a slightly progressive researching method, and that usually results in a pretty good we can build 2 of these. We want 4 of them, so I need a few more. Get to 15, and then we'll stop harvesting it. So we'll get to start crafting on that. I believe the first priority for, I mean, we're gonna of course want to get electricity set up so we can get a lab going, but iron is the #1 priority, and it's basically the #1 priority throughout the whole game. But we're gonna place these furnaces here for now, and we're gonna get a drill going. Let's get that going. Let's get a wood chest. We're gonna want a few of them probably. We'll get one kicked off there. So that's fine. The next drill that I'm gonna wanna probably set up. Okay, so they require a furnace for themselves. That's fine. We'll just cut 2 furnaces. At some point, it'll be 3 furnaces. So let's grab that, and let's kickstart the cook process on some ore. So we do need 9 iron plates to get another one going. We're gonna get 2. What do we need? More iron? Of course we do. The first starting off page here, if you guys aren't familiar with Factorio, is relatively tedious. But we're gonna hopefully be able to get to a point where we're actually doing significant work in the episode. And I do agree that we are only a few moments into this. So yeah, we just need to kickstart it with, I guess we can use 1 piece of wood. And that should be able to kickstart this cycle that we need to get going here. So these are going to go back and forth feeding each other, and this combination, you can do that, or you can do a 4x4, or even bigger loops. That's usually how I get them started though, so they can just start collecting significant ore quantities. I do want to grab the iron, of course, and keep that going here. But we're going to want to get more stone. And the stone, of course, is going to be required to actually build the next drill, which is pretty important, but I need the coal so we can actually do much with the kicking off here. This is, like I said, this is probably the most tedious portion, probably the most involved though. So I'll try to keep you guys in with this as we go. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some time lapses through some of this. But yeah, trying to keep it interactive as possible. I know how this can seem. I've never actually dealt with these walls. I forget what they're called. I've never actually dealt with them on a significant level, but I usually disable them actually because they kind of get annoying. But yeah, so we're gonna actually just build one right here. I probably should grab some more coal. We're gonna need more coal for this whole operation over here anyways, but we're gonna grab some stone next. That's the next immediate. 30, that's fine. That should be sufficient for now. So yeah, like this kicking off is usually relatively tedious, but isn't too bad after we get going here. I mean, the whole game is tedious. It's a lot of architecture and like considerations to be taken into account when you're doing stuff. Decisions on like how we want to map stuff out, how stuff actually flows through your system. And this is the type of game that I enjoy because of that. I mean, there's other games that give that type of compliment and complexity to it, such as City Skylines, which you guys will most likely see return into a channel in a new save. And like, there's other games that come to mind that I'll probably pick up and at least get exposed to some regard. These are like overhead strategy games, hands-on strategy, and definitely complement my I guess my game types that I like to do. So yeah, no complaints there for me. Do want, I guess we're gonna grab one more. Come on, give me one more stone, and that's fine. We'll keep that going. We're gonna need more iron. And of course that means we gotta grab from here. And this is probably gonna need a little more coal. We want to make sure that the iron production doesn't slow down. It's relatively important to keep the iron going the whole time. And hence now we're going to get copper going as well. As that's also relatively important. Wow, why is that? I feel like that hot keybind isn't mapped properly, but I digress. Okay, so we got that kicked off. Got our first set of copper coming in, which you'll be able to use to build power lines, because that's what the first thing that we're going to really need, and then getting a lab going, because we do want to map out research. So while we're waiting for time to progress, I believe time progresses while I'm in here, right? It doesn't. Great. We'll do this quick then. So we have the electronics track, which is the only major track that you can, well, you have all these tracks, I guess. These are all the tracks you can kick off. But we're going to want to get into logistics relatively soon. We want, transport belts are already unlocked. Oh, okay, well then we're not going to need to worry about that too much. We're going to, of course, want to get new research relatively quick. Building automation tools. So this is something that I'll want. Optics light is nice. We're going to need that later to get solar. Turrets, not super priority, as I mentioned. I have them kind of we don't really need weapons right away. Same with the military. Stone walls, also not prioritized. With steel processing, we'll want. So we have a few things that we can pick from. I don't know what specifically we want to kick off right away, but there's a variety of different ways to treat that process. So now we're approaching. Oh, we actually have all we need for a steam engine. So we need a steam engine and a few boilers. I just want to make sure that these guys have enough to keep going for a few seconds. We're gonna go grab coal and go refill all of our drills. This is something that usually takes about 2 episodes, I would say. If my episode, it takes an hour. So however long an hour ends up being in computational time converted to videos, that's really what it's going to come down to. But yeah, we'll really see when we get there. So of course that's out, which is fine. We'll just throw a ton of coal because we're going to need a ton of stone relatively shortly. But the iron is the #1 priority, which we'll throw a ton there as well. And keep getting that ore going. That's fine. Copper isn't like the top priority for us right now. It's significant, but not required. So now we can get our, we're going to need a pump, of course, an offshore pump, to be able to collect our water, to feed our steam engine. And then we're going to want some boilers to get started there. And then we can start getting electric drills, which is really where the main thing is other than labs. We can craft these manually. How long did it take? 5 seconds manually? Yeah, we don't want that. So the first thing we're going to do, I guess, is start off with automation. 10 and 10. So I guess we might as well... Wow. Why is that? Why am I blanking? I feel like every time I hit a menu button, I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. So we're going to need 10 of these. And like I get that we... I get that. I don't know if you guys... you guys could have been around. I forget if it's on my YouTube or if it's a Twitch stream that I did. I did a Factorio stream, and that was almost 4.5 years ago now. And the games came a long way since then. They're continuing to update it, and I actually enjoy using the game very much so, because of how they are very consistent on delivery of the common stuff, the commonalities. So this is a burner inserter, and like you need to kick the process off some way. But usually what I do is I usually kick it off myself manually, and then use these inserters continuously. But to do that, you of course need to have a stockpile of coal. Hopefully if I come up this way, grab this first, we should be able to build another drill, right? Yeah, we got plenty of iron. Not really plenty of iron, actually. I want to get another drill going on that, on the iron. Like the production rate is relatively important of iron. Okay, so we're getting plenty of coal production. I mean, we have 2 miners going on it relative to other stuff. So we got the things crafted out. Now we need to, I mean, the water is all the way down, way down. I haven't even ran down there yet. But yeah, like, okay, how much do we got going here? Yeah, okay, that's gonna be sufficient. Okay, we can grab more of this stuff here. Okay, so we got another drill. Let's get another 25 going. That's gonna help kick us up into high gear now. A little bit. A little more significantly. So we can actually, I mean, there's no reason to start the research necessarily now because we don't have a lab yet, but we'll need a lab. That's relatively important. I don't want to be manually crafting our science packs. That's a waste of the queue time for the user. The inventory crafting that you do as a user, it's extremely important that that's used on things that are new and not required things that you haven't already automated in the process. It's in this portion of the game, there's a lot of like me manually crafting stuff, but I'll get to a point where I shouldn't be crafting basically anything, and all the rest of the stuff is being taken care of by the system in some way. Maybe building our research modules, or building components that are going to be used for utilities that will be used elsewhere, such as ammo or things that we need to use for attacking. The other thing that's relatively important is using like crude oil and crude materials to be able to do stuff. So yeah, I mean, like it adds up over time, of course. So as time progresses, we want to make sure there's like a strategic reason behind certain things. But right now we're sitting in pretty good shape. So these guys are going to need to cook through a ton. A ton is a metaphoric term, of course. But we're going to need to get a ton of transport belts. And a ton of transport belts is not a small statement. We're coming from here. And I mean, like, in this early game, I'll probably build a lot of our stuff down here. Like, the main core of our base will be here. I believe you guys can see my mouse, yeah. So, like, the core of our main operation stuff will be here. But as we go, we'll be using, like, this area for strictly ingest of stuff, and then like there'll be strategic areas that will be structuring. But we could build pipes, bring the water up that way, or we can build power lines. And the thing is people are like, okay, well, if you run power lines, you still need to run the tracks back down this way. Give and take. I mean, of course, that does mean that you need to bring your coal down here, but you can run your power lines and have all your ore manufacturing up here, and the only thing that needs to come down here is the coal, which then we can run down the side and over this way. So that's actually the route that I plan on going. So we're going to throw in a pump. And of course, it was already oriented the right direction. And I'm sitting here like the smart ass I am and doing it wrong. So the steam engine is on the other end of the boiler. So we'll probably do that and throw, I think we can throw boilers in line. Yeah, we can throw boilers in line. Spectacular. Sweet. So we're going to want a handful of piping. And sure, we can have extras. That's fine. It's not like the #1 thing that we need to worry about right now. And I like doing it that way. I guess I misplaced where I want that. And like the next one would be here, right? Yeah, so if we do 5 boilers, because that's the rate for steam engines, that's where we're gonna wanna place it. And it's 5 boilers per steam engine is approximately what it comes out to, if I remember correctly. So we're gonna need to kick this off to be able to get power going, but no reason to waste coal quite yet, because we need to still run power lines to get the electric stuff going up on this end. So I'm actually going to craft 2 of these, and we're going to need a ton of iron to be able to run power lines and to run the transport tracks. So this is done amazingly. Okay, so we're doing great on ore. We're gonna probably need another furnace, which I could have just built immediately. But I might as well come up here and grab the more stone, because we're gonna need stone as well for all of our drills. Actually, that's a lie, because they don't require it anymore. I haven't played this game in a long while, actually. So yeah, these guys balance out with each other. Actually, let's do, well, now these are going to be all wasted. But we're going to do it like this for now. Just so that they, just so that we can actually, get our production going here. So that we're going to get a ton of coal, because we're going to need that. And we're going to need transport tracks to bring it down. So we're not doing super good for that, but we're going to get another one of these furnaces, which was crafted, of course, into one of those drills. Okay, so we're in good shape. 20 power poles, because it's 1-to-1, and you get 2 poles from it. We're gonna want probably all of that. We're gonna need to get more wood, which, as I alluded to, should be down here. We should have wood. This should be trees. So we'll run down there when we go to get water. Or go back down to our stuff that we got going down there. But we got to keep this ore production going. This iron situation is going to be what's going to be basically the decision maker on what we're doing. And I mean, sure, the distance is a factor, but yeah, we're gonna need a ton of transport belts. This will only get us 60, which it's at least 60 down, and then at least 35 over. So not gonna quite jump on that boat yet, but we're closing in. So 37 now. I want to make sure these guys are good on coal. And copper production is relatively important. The thing is relatively early in the game, it seems like it's not as critical. You need about 2/3 the amount of copper production as you need iron production over the course of the game, and majority of the copper production requirements come, like, I mean, sure, like, we need copper right away, but like majority that catches it up to that 2/3 mark. Right now it's less than 1/3. Later in the game it catches up to it because there's things that require only copper and other materials to make something. But that of course changes over the course of time. So I mean, there's definitely a strategy involved in how I want to proceed with certain things. But we got our mining drills, which is a positive. We got power poles, which is a positive. And I want to just get some more iron before we really run off doing our own little thing. Okay, so we got 50 ore, 51 ore. And we're finally catching up on the ore production. Let's start crafting all of those. Yeah, let's top that off and we can take that. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. We're gonna start making these, which is good. We want them down here. We also want these down here, and these will be helpful as well. So we really can, in theory, start from the bottom of here, like that. Oh, and of course I already we're gonna run the power here first. And people are like always like, why do you run it linearly? And we're gonna get rid of this rock just so it's not in the way. Why do you run it linearly, not diagonally? The only thing that really runs good diagonally in this game, unfortunately, is trains. If you're doing belts in a diagonal fashion, you're being extremely land inefficient, not resource inefficient, because running the hypotenuse in a square is actually the same resource as running it diagonally or in a straight line, but because of how you have to do curves to do left, right, left, it still takes the same amount of squares up. On the trains, though, it's actually less resources to run it diagonally, because it's actually using proper box technique, which it's an interesting philosophy that actually exists. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to quickly run this. Hopefully, oh, we're going to want to split that at some point. We're going to quick run this, and we're basically in the episode after I run out of these. So yeah, and of course, wow, we're going to need a ton more than I thought. We only got a third of the way, probably, because it's definitely appears to be longer than tall. No, it's actually pretty equal. So we're going to need another decent amount of them. So I'll come back to you guys in the next episode with all of the iron that I'm going to need. And yeah, so I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did, remember, click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you guys all have an awesome day, and peace out. Suspect has a weapon. Armed. Here, flying. Okay, we're way too fast to land.
Spoilers! Quick panic break. First thrust in the air.
What? Sent him flying. Oh boy. Off-roading in Explore.